All right, for this next tutorial, what we're going to do is take some basic forms using two-point perspective and turn them into some things we can do with modeling. We can turn things into boats or, cars, tanks, very simple forms. So to do that, we're first going to use two vanishing points. Now, these vanishing points, if we were already using a city setting, would exist already with our drawing. But just for practice sake, we're going to use a fresh sheet of paper. So we're going to start with 2 points. Now, pretty much everything we've done and everything we will do will use the same method, which is just making a simple box. So when you draw, my line's pretty dark there, but when you draw, try to draw as light as you can. If you have any of your H drawing pencils, that's what you should be using in this stage. Again, we're going to go to the vanishing points, just like we would normally. And as we do this, we're going to need to cut it off. Now remember, in two-point perspective, verticals stay vertical. They remain vertical. So wherever we're going to cut this off, we want to try to emulate the same vertical line. And you can see sometimes I like to do this and just try to slide it. And just try to keep it as straight up and down as you can. Okay. Now that we've selected where our form is going to be, we're going to erase the orthogonal lines. And we're going to be left with something that looks similar to like an open folder on a desk. So we still need the top. So again, if we can see a corner, it goes to the vanishing point. So here we have another corner that we created. And here we have another corner here. And where those two meet, we are going to erase the orthogonal lines except where that corner is. Okay. Now, essentially, whatever we want this to become is going to start from this building block, okay? So if we want to add to it, let's say it was the cab of a truck, or some of you asked me if I could make it a tank, we would simply add another vertical. So here I'm going to put another box on top of this box, and the rulers that I actually put in most of the kits are these rulers, and I like them because they have these other lines we can see. See how there's like a indentation here? What it allows me to do is line it up with an existing line, and then make sure this line's going to match that. See how that line matches in there? So I know this is the same line. Again, we just created a corner. So we're going to take our corner to the vanishing point. And I'm going to stop right there because I know it's not going to go past this line. Here, we already have the bottom, but I'm going to do the top. Again, I'm not drawing it all the way to that vanishing point. I stopped because I know I'm going to cut it off somewhere. The angle still goes to the vanishing point if I were to continue the line, but there's no need to do that. Now on this top, it's a little different because I don't know where the vertical line is going to be. So before I cut it off, I am going to have to go a little further than that line. Again, I'll look at my vertical line, and here's another vertical line. For this vertical, I simply decide where I want to cut it off. And in this case, I'll cut it off right here. Notice again, I'm lining up this vertical right here, so I make sure that this is a nice straight line. Now we still have this back area, which is the top. Just like we did the top on this box, we need to do the top on this box. So again, if I can see a corner, it needs to go to a vanishing point. Again, we have a corner, and there's our vanishing point, but when we hit this line right here, we know we can stop, because the line doesn't go past that. And now we can really start making this into whatever we want. So if, for example, I wanted to make this into, and I'll make it a tank since someone asked me to do that, but if I wanted to make it into other things, I could easily do that, okay? If I wanted to make it, and I'm going to just use some tools here on the board. So if I wanted to make it into a boat, oh, and I missed a couple lines there. Let's fix that. If I wanted to make it into something like a boat, I should be able to easily do that by manipulating the points that I already have. Just plug these in. They're going to be a little off, but just for the sake of me not redrawing it for the next part. So again, if I'm looking at that and I said, hey, well, how could I make that into a boat? Well, if I took something like, I'll use a different color here, and I still use my vanishing points, I would easily be able to take that and lay out, oh my gosh, it's so hard to do like this. I'm not going to be able to do that. That's way too hard for me to look at and draw. Okay, let's just do it on here. Okay, so I'll just do it lightly and then I'll erase. So if I wanted to make it a boat, I'm simply going to bring my line down like this. So again, we're using the vanishing points. Here's the middle of it, what I perceive to be the middle. And all I'm going to do is make this into point. Here's my back line. So again, I'm using this vanishing point. And then verticals remain vertical. Still going to have this vanishing point used over here for the bottom. You can start seeing how this could become a boat. Okay, so I could make it a boat. I could easily make it into like a car from like a cartoon, like if it was the Simpsons car or something like that. That would be very easy to do. Or a Jeep. The Jeep's really easy to use perspective with because it's so squared. But if you look at this, you could start saying, oh, I see where we could put an angle here. And then we have another corner, so we have a vanishing point. So again, to the vanishing point, and there's the other angle. And you can start seeing how that can become like the rear windshield, and we can do the front windshield and all that stuff. But like I said, someone asked me to complete the tank, so here we go. So the first thing about the tank, when we looked at it, was we had a curve. And just for the sake of making it easy, I'm going to simply look at where, I'm going to eyeball this and just put a circle here. Now it's not quite a perfect circle. If it were larger, we would actually have a vanishing point in use. So the circle is a little smaller on this side than it is on this side. Okay? And that's going to become the barrel of the tank. Now, for the barrel, it's going to come out this way, so it's going to use this vanishing point on the right. And the way we do curved lines with straight lines is we bring the ruler down from the vanishing point until it touches the circle, right about there. And I'm simply going to take the vanishing point, the very edge of the circle, a little higher, and draw it out. I'm going to do the same thing at the bottom. So again, we're going to bring this up as soon as it touches the bottom of the circle, and it's still in the vanishing point. I'm going to bring the circle out. Now I can erase the inside of the barrel, and we're left with the curve. See the curve here? And that curve now looks like it goes into the, whatever this part of the tank would be called. I'm not really sure. Now, on the end of the tank, technically, I could use this vanishing point and put this in and say, hey, here's the circle that we need. But for the sake of us, and it's going to have a vertical and all that. But for the sake of what we're doing, keeping it simple and just learning, we're just going to copy the curve. So see the curve here? We're just going to do a curve as a curve as a curve. And we'll just keep that curve like that. So we're just going to eyeball it. Now, you can see the barrel here. Now for the tread itself, I do want to make sure that you understand that if I put a vertical line, because most of these we started with a vertical and then we went to the vanishing points. And that's a great way to work, but that's not the only way to work. We can technically work from the vanishing point to find the vertical. Because if I wanted to put the tank tread, I don't know where the vertical line should go over here. I mean, it's not been defined. So the way I'm going to do that is I'm actually going to use this vanishing point because we know the tank tread is going to come out from the body of the tank. So what I'm going to do is braid over like this, draw a light line, go up to the top. Again, we're going to draw a light line. So that's going to be the top of the tank tread right there. Depending on how wide we want that tank tread, we're going to bring it over like this and draw our line. And what that just did is it made the corners that tell us where the vertical line should have been. Again, if I had tried to do that just by drawing a vertical line, I never would have guessed to put it right there. Once we have that vertical line, though, we can now go to this vanishing point, drop our other vertical, and now we're going to need to put a curve into there. Understand that basically if it's a circle, it's going to angle. So a circle is no longer a circle in perspective. Once we use vanishing points, a circle starts becoming an oval or like an ellipse, like a football shape. So all I'm going to do is I'm going to try to hit the center here with a curve. I'm going to do the same thing in the back. If I have the center, I'm going to have the curve. And that's going to give me the curved tread. Everything else on this line, everything else here that I had to do to find that, is going to get erased. And at first it does seem like a lot of steps just to do this, but as soon as you understand it, it doesn't really take much effort, and you can do these things quickly. Just like we did the barrel here, where we brought our vanishing point and brought our line up to the curve, we're going to do the same thing. So as soon as this touches the tank tread, right there, that is actually our line. We're going to do the same thing from the left vanishing point to the back. We're going to bring it down this time. And again, as soon as it touches here, we bring it over. Now, again, a curve is a curve is a curve. So as you can see, this curve here drops down. We want this curve to be the same drop into that line. And the same thing back here, which is harder to see. Now the tank tread is very similar to a sidewalk. We had learned sidewalks when we did a city. So if I wanted to put the tread on there, I'm going to use this vanishing point, and I'm simply going to mark a line and rotate my ruler. Notice I like to put the pencil on the vanishing point whenever I rotate. I find that this helps me keep my vanishing point accurate. And don't forget, as this goes away from our eye, I'm slowly making the lines closer together. See how they get a little bit closer as they go away from our eye? All right. Now, this same line here for the bottom of the tread, we could also plug in over here. From here, we have this side. So just that little bit of tank tread could be seen over here in the same curve. And there's our tank tread in the back. And again, I started doing that, don't do that. If you're going to draw lines, do them correctly. So that's the vanishing. And you can start seeing our tank. Okay? Now if we want to put circles into here, I noticed some people drawing circles, but if you draw a straight on circle, it's not going to work. Okay? Because a circle, just to clarify, a circle and a square match. So if the square would go to a vanishing point, so would the circle. And what that means is that if I draw a circle in here, it's going to be getting smaller. Okay? And again, you can play around with this. But it's just like we had practiced drawing like tape rolls, or if you look at any item as it rotates, you know, just like this cup. As it rotates, we don't see a circle, we start seeing more of an oval. Okay? It's not a circle at this point. Or if it was going, you know, on the side of the tank like this, it's not a circle. Okay? And that's just something that you have to work with. And that should help you try to draw whatever you want to draw. Now I could turn, again, this could become a truck, it could become a boat, it could become anything. It's literally the building blocks.